Greetings there, my fellow K-Leg illegals. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts, Episode 2, Running My First Salvage. Okay, pick up the yellow salvage permit on the ground and read it. Oh, I don't recall this part of the tutorial ever. Nice. Is it going to give me a salvage? Read. Alright, it's valid until August 26th. It's valid for 2 hours. So down here, as you can see, it's 1400. This is valid until 1600. What that means is any salvage I get from here, I can legally sell at K-Leg. It's a 24-hour salvage license. That is very nice. So now I go from illegally salvaging to legally salvaging. Sweet. Visualize the power networks. L. Restore power to the door by installing the nearby conduit. So, if I want to open this door, I need to install conduit. There is power flowing from this small battery. Here, the wiggle squiggles is the sign that is powered. And if I right-click on the conduit and hit install, I can install the conduit here, which will complete the circuit and power up this door, allowing me to get to the other side. Now, on the bottom right, you can also see my CO2 high. I have to be cognizant of when I run out of oxygen in this pressure suit. So I need to make sure that as soon as my CO2 levels get high, I run back to my ship, take off my helmet, put my helmet back on. Basically, taking a fresh set of air. Okay. Sweet. Find a misinstalled conduit, uninstall it, and reinstall it to complete the circuit network to the bridge. Alternatively, find another way through the stuck door. So before I get a new fresh breath, let's go ahead and the rack here is empty. Now, when you right-click on an object, you'll have a rough value of whether or not it's worth taking. In this case, a rack is not worth very much. The door, interestingly, is worth a whole lot more. So stealing this door might be a better idea. There's a crowbar on the floor over here, which is going to be a very handy tool for us to have. So I'm going to try to tell my character to... hold up. Roster, open airlocks. Tell my character to go pick up that crowbar. Crowbars can be used to bash or uninstall, which can open up doors for us. It takes a bit of elbow grease, but it is worth doing in a lot of cases. All right, before I go any further into this derelict, let's get some fresh oxygen. As I said, all we have to do, open up the helmet, put the helmet back on, and we have fresh oxygen to breathe. Okay, misaligned. So there, over this way, there is a conduit that leads to this door. I can either pry this door open with the crowbar I just fetched, or I can uninstall the conduit here and install it here instead. I'll do the conduit method because that's more or less what they're asking me to do in order to open up the bridge. And the bridge is probably where the loot is. And yeah, what's on the left? It is open space. This is just busted. So whatever gas was in this pocket here, I've mostly vented to space as well. This was a pressurized room until I opened up this door. And as you can see, it went from like 80 kPa nitrogen to 2 kPa nitrogen. I've essentially vented this room out to space. So there was temporarily Atmo in here until I powered the door and swung it open. That was my doing. All right, let's speed up time. And as soon as I get the CO2 high warnings, I will... Yep, there we go. There's the CO2 high warnings saying, hey, pay attention. You're going to suffocate otherwise. We'll go back to our own base and cycle the helmet. As you can see, the work got picked up where we left off. So I had uninstalled most of the conduit, but I hadn't finished. And we didn't start from scratch. Oh, I only needed one conduit anyway. So essentially, we're just like hot wiring these two wires together. There was a spare conduit I'm not even going to need. Before we go into the captains, let's grab another fresh can of air for our brain. Our meat computer, if you will. And now, we can gain access to the bridge. A rush of gas escapes the bridge as you force the door open. Look around for anything worth salvaging and bring it back to my ship. So the nav station right now is damaged, but if repaired, it could be worth fixing, and it would need a heatsink, a motherboard, and a screen. We've got a thruster, which is in good working order. We've got a O2 can, which is full pressure. That's going to be worth a whole lot. So the first thing I'm going to do is uninstall that O2 can. Oxygen in the game is worth a lot. Carbon dioxide and nitrogen, not so much. So this full O2 can is definitely the nicest thing here. And I'm also a bit on a time crunch because my legal salvage license does expire within 2 hours. So what I'm going to want to do is grab this stuff and return back to K-Leg and legally sell the salvage for profit. All right, at this point, I'm going to drag it. So I've been dragging it, and this is the drag slot. I'm going to put it on the ground below me, cycle my helmet again. I'm actually going to turn off my work light and put that on the ground too. And then we have, so it's been 14 minutes since I've found that salvage license. As you can see, it's 2:13 p.m. So I have a little bit more time before having to return. All right, I'm trying to uninstall this door because I'm curious what's on the other side. And I'll be also uninstalling the nav station and probably the thruster. CO2's building up. I decided to push it. You also notice that the face, which is just down below me, is expressive. It reacts to what hell I'm putting them through. Oh, you know what? I kind of need the light here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up this door. It's a broken door, but broken doors can be fixed and sold. And we'll bring this door back and drop it. There we go. Got a door. All right, the working doors here would honestly have been worth more. You know what I meant to do is grab the work lamp because we I opened up that, I removed that door and I couldn't see anything up on the other side. It's a rack or a bin. It's a bin with a battery charger for Halverson tools. Awesome. I'll put that in my carry bag. All right, what else we got here? We've got a thruster, the intake, and the nav station. All of which I would say is worth grabbing. So I'll start uninstalling the nav station. And I'm going to want to leave with like an hour to return to K-Leg, thereabouts, or like at least 40 minutes to return to K-Leg, because I don't want the salvage permit to run out. It's going to be worth more to me to make sure that I can sell this stuff legally and for a lot more money. So what I'm intending to do is repair this nav station back at K-Leg, and then maybe power it up to see if it has any data on it, because the data on the nav station can also be sold. And then installing this thing is a bit of a beast because I have a pressure suit and manual tools, so I have to make a lot of runs in order to get this done. Plus, I don't have a ton of skill. My lord. Luckily, this is leveling me up, if you're wondering. You do get better at tasks with time. So in doing this, because this is like an electrical component, I am building up my skills for that. All right. Back to it. Come on, man. Just get the whole damn thing. And if you're wondering, if you right-click your character, you can see their skills. So right now, I am leveling up my electrical engineering and my robotics engineering as a result of the work that I've been putting in. And probably one more run, and I'll be able to uninstall this. Man, this is just grueling. I would have maybe not embarked to get this done had I realized how long trying to do this with without power tools would have been. Some of the nicest things to buy is right when you make your first little bit of money is power tools that will make the work go a lot faster, a salvage license so you can keep doing legitimate salvage, which will make more money, and then battery rechargers and potentially batteries that you can swap to, so that when you have a dead battery in your power tool, you can just swap it for a fresh one and then recharge the dead one. And that is life-changing. All right, I've spent about 20 minutes in-game on this comms console, but it's just about ready to come out. So I'm going to pick it up and start dragging it. And we have a perfect amount of space right in the airlock for it, so I put it in my airlock. I'm back on, and let's continue. Now I'm going to get the thruster. I can also install... Oh, I'm getting the thruster from outside. That's a little sketchier. Because we have to EVA there, which is slower. All right, got the CO2 warning. And there we go. Now we're doing it from the inside. The other things that are here are some carbon fiber, some trash, some random floor panels. There's really not a lot of like treasure, so to speak, on the ground here, so I don't really need to worry about grabbing stuff. Come on, thruster. Just come off. And I think at like 15:15, I'll make my way back to K-Leg. So we have time to sell this stuff. It also means that I'm probably not going to have time to restore very much. So what I'm hoping to do is sell enough to afford the next salvage license, and then restore the comms console or the nav into better working order before selling that. So there's like a bit of an order of things to do. Also in this canister's empty. Okay. Got the thruster. Bring it back. I'll make it. Just with some burning lungs. Alright, character's starting to get a little hungry. Down here in the bottom left, you can see my status. And I did have meal in my overalls. So we are going to eat this. It's terrible. It's like a pouch of mystery meat, but, you know, it will sate me a little bit. All right, helmet on. And there was one last part. I think the doors would be nice to have, but they're going to take a while. You know what? Yeah, we actually uninstalled the doors pretty quick because of the crowbar. So I'm going to go for doors. And that broken door I grabbed, I kind of regret wasting the time to grab it, because the non-broken doors are going to be a lot better. What I'm also going to try to do is to not stack stuff, because it can bug out your game. So I'll do my best to avoid stackage. There we go. Can you set an alarm with the in-game watch? I forget, actually. In-game alarms. Yeah, I really don't remember. Alright. We are... ETA to leave is... It might be worth grabbing the one other powered door. And then leaving once that is fetched. There's also proximity. Oh, that's a pressure sensor alarm. So I'm gonna grab the bad door. Oh, you know what? Crap. I think our ox tank ran out of no, it didn't run out of oxygen. What's going on here? Oh no, we ran out of nitrogen for our ship. So our ship is low pressure. I'll aim to fix that in a moment. So let's put down this broken door because I don't want it, and take a look at the King tank here. Yep, the N2 canister in this other, in the derelict ship is full, so we're gonna switch N2 cans. Essentially what ended up happening is, because I opened up my airlock so many times, the gas can dedicated to pressurizing my cabin ran out of nitrogen. I could grab nitrogen from my RCS thrusters, because they also use nitrogen gas, but it's going to be cheaper and easier for me just to grab the tank of nitrogen offered to me for free on their ship and use that nitrogen instead. Because your character does not like to be in a low pressure environment for very long. Not good for the health. Alright, so the question here is, where is my nitro can? Like, looking around at my garbage ship, I can barely tell what's even going on here. So you've got thruster, 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 thruster. In the back here, we have a bin that's broken, a cooler that's broken, a cooler that's working, an O2 alarm. We've got the heater, our transponder, conduits, more broken bins. Man, so much is broken on this thing. Broken batteries, broken batteries. I don't actually see N2 on this here ship. Yeah, I don't see a pump for it anywhere. Here, let me hold left alt. So this here is a canister, which is supposed to pump out the air out of the airlock so the airlock doesn't evacuate air to space, which isn't working because it's broken. But yeah, we don't actually have N2. We don't have an N2 pump on this boat. That's fine. I'll just be in low pressure until I leave. It's survivable. It's not ideal, but it's survivable. And that will be one of the first problems that we solve. The other thing I could do is, where is my N2 alarm? Because the N2 alarm on my ship is the one that is, or atmo pressure alarm is the one that's flipping out and beeping at me. I don't even see an N2 alarm. I see an, oh, it's probably, no, that's thermostat. CO2 alarm, which is broken, mind you. It's in there. Oh, yeah, it's, no, that's a light. Pump, light, floor. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Just a little bit of beeping. We'll solve this later. Okay, let's take the last door that I said I wanted to have. And then get out of here. We'll try to track down where that alarm's coming from. But I'd rather actually, rather than turn off the alarm, I'd rather just, like, fix the issue. You see N2 sideways on the blue circle in the middle? Oh, yeah, there might be an N2 alarm somewhere in the middle of the ship. I'm just going to focus on wrapping up the salvaging, getting back to K-Leg, though. It's underneath the doors. Copy. Pick up. Run it down. Take a deep breath. Grab the last door. You said it's underneath the doors. I'm not seeing N2 alarm here. Okay, I'm not taking any, hey, I found it, I don't care at this point. I'm headed back to ship. Oh, it was the proximity? Oh, God, yes. Oh, my lord. I think the alarm, we don't have one, guys. You were looking for something that didn't exist. The beeping we had was, we're about to crash into the asteroid. Undock, please. So we were stationary in relation to the derelict, but the asteroid kind of came up on us pretty fast. We nearly crashed into an asteroid. That would have been, well, my death count up top would have climbed. So what we want to do is we want to go to K-Leg. So I'm going to click K-Leg as our target. And then I'm going to want to come out here first and then do a transfer burn to K-Leg, because I can't go straight there. I can't go through an asteroid. I'm not Deep Rock Galactic. That's not how this works. You were waiting for me to realize that? Yeah, I realized it eventually before it became fatal. To my credit. That's cruel for a tutorial? Yeah, no kidding. Bye, Crimson Herring. You are going to burn up in the Atmo, I think. But I feel pretty good about what we grabbed. We have 45 minutes in game left of the salvage permit. And I have a lot of decent salvage. I think probably selling the... Shut up. Oh, God. Holler. Jesus. Selling the O2 can that we have and maybe a door will net me enough money for another 24-hour permit. Probably. And then that means we'll be able to fix up this stuff and sell it for more profit. Okay. Let's do our transfer burn back home. So bearing to 0. And cross velocity to 0. So I'm holding A to go left, strafe left, to kill the cross velocity. The VCRS, bring that to 0. So that we're not drifting horizontally to our target. So, there we go. Oh, literally 0. Bearing back to 0. There we go, pretty close. And then relative velocity coming in, and I'll approach it at... all right, let's throttle up a little bit to be maneuvering at 0.73 Gs. And I'll approach K-leg at 150 meters per second. Or like, yeah, 150 is fine. There we go. Airdog, thank you for the resub, and Sean too. Yeah, the 24-hour permit lets you get a lot done. I was on that derelict for what, like an hour? For reference? Of course, granted, part of that 24 hours is going to be sleep. It doesn't pause when you sleep, and your character does probably want to sleep. At this point, I think the tutorial directions are done, more or less, and whenever I happen upon a new game mechanic, I'll explain it in full. Alright, let's hop back into the nav seat, because we're approaching K-leg, I'm sure. We are 9 kilometers away and closing, so we'll bring that up to 5 kilometers. There we go. Proximity alarm goes off. I'm going to start killing some of the relative velocity, slowing down a bit. And docking. Clearance. Alright, we're facing the wrong way. And we're coming in hot, so I'm going to raise the throttle up a little bit. As you can see, there's throttle slides here, because this is a hot dock. And coming in straight in. Perfect. Done. Clamped. Done. Now, one of the things I could do, because I know I don't have a nitro pump on my ship, is I can open the doors and bum some gas off a K-leg. It's not wise to do constantly, because if you constantly do it, you could empty K-leg's gas cans out, and then K-leg will have like a mass death event. Not wise. So visit the yellow license or gray scrap kiosk and sell an item. So now I'm forcing all the doors open, and as you can see, as a result, it's going to quickly repressurize. Repressurize my cabin. So as you can see, the KPI is going back up. It should approach somewhere near 80. Let's open that airlock again. Okay. So it wants me to sell an item, and the best item that I have to sell right now is this. So let's turn off the, I don't need the work light anymore. In fact, I don't really need the pressure suit. I'll put on my overalls. And the... Oh, that loose can... That doesn't really matter. It's damaged, but it has full pressure. So I'm going to pick it up. And I'm going to drag it over to the licensed-only kiosk. And hit trade. There's other ways to trade. This is just one of the trade. The other way to trade is a zoning thing. And I'll explain that in a bit. Return to K-Leg. As comfortable as it feels to return to the station after scouring the cold boneyard for parts, in the world of semi-legal Salvage, finding parts is only half the battle. The rest is selling it. Station centers are connected by rail, a single-car shuttle system that is constantly in a state of disrepair. With a working knowledge of the station and an appetite for risk, you might even find a way to make a living on this rock. The K-Leg economy is a strange beast. There's the corporate-sponsored salvage trade, run through the scrap and license kiosks. With the right license, you can rent time out in the boneyard and pick parts without being bothered by the AOSEC goods. The black market is another matter. Industrious scavengers know that you want a premium price for a rare piece, then you're going to have to find a reliable fence. But it won't be easy gaining their trust. Lastly, the Gig Nexus shops out jobs just to about anyone. The work ranges from menial station jobs to high-risk porting operations. In every case, the faster you work, the more money you'll find. All right. So this time, I'm going to manually walk to the kiosk and give it a go. Sell. And here, as you can see, my ox tank is worth 4,500 because it's literally full. Doesn't really matter that it's worn out. Except, now you have some money in your pocket. You're wondering what it's good for. Don't fret. Space life has all sorts of hidden charges and liens to track and pay off. You can find them and track them in the finances screen, accessible by clicking the cash balance in the main UI. Here. Docking is relatively cheap, but yes, there is docking fees, there is license fees, there is my mortgage fees. So, I owe mortgage on my ship, which I'm not going to pay right now. I'll pay that later because I want to be able to afford the next salvage license. And then there is a fuel connection, air connection, power hookup, disconnect, dockage, and facility fees, which add up to about 500, which I have to pay because they're not going to let me leave if I don't. Fungible units of energetic liquid refilling. Basically top up my liquids and gases and stuff. So refueling at a fuel kiosk is here, this orange one. And I can refuel my RCS fuel, refuel my O2, refuel my power, and all that. Yep, money, of course. All right, reached the end of the main tutorial. Cool. All right, so at this point, what I want to do is I want to try to make, let me update the priority. Buy a new license and repair the nav. So of all the doors that I have here, whatever is in the most working condition, this 93% door, this one is going to get sold. I have, well, you know, I have 40 minutes of license time left on my license. If I read this, this is valid until 4:01 p.m. So what I could do is spend a little bit of time trying to restore this door. But before I restore the door, I'd like to take a look at its sell price and then its sell price after selling it, after repairing it. So it sells for 626. But if I drop it and hit restore, oh, I'm missing a welding tool. Yeah. Let's get a welding tool. Hey, Radlocker, thank you for the resub. And cheers, by the way. Yep, got to spend money to make money. All right, over here, welding tool. So these suits would be incredibly useful, but they're a bit out of my price point, if you're wondering. And we can buy the Halverson friction welder. It's in like new condition. And it comes with a battery. And we do have a battery charger that we salvaged off the ship. So accept. I pay out $500. There's also probably random stuff on our ship that we could sell that I didn't even grab. That's just like loose. But now we have a friction welder, which means that we can repair this door. And I don't want to run out of time before end of day, so I'm keeping a close eye on the time there. All right, pick this up. I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference in terms of sell price. Yeah, we raised it up about $200 from 600 to 800. Cool. Now the issue is, are we going to be able to get what we need before our license runs out? I know that this nitrogen can is completely full, and the thruster I think is decent to sell. So I think selling the nitro can, the thruster, and maybe one more door, and we'll hit the 5K. Could you build a ship from scratch? No, you could not. All ships require airlocks, and you can't build airlocks. But if you found an airlock, you could build a ship around it. All right, we're at exactly just about 5,000. Which means that we could buy another license, buy a 24-hour license. So let's go do that. Okay, so I have a 24-hour license. I'm going to then trade. And we have our worn license that nobody wants. Okay, cool. So that that other license we have on us does not matter, and I'll probably throw it away. Because apparently they don't want it back. So let's continue to restore our items to make the most money out of it. And then once I have a little bit more money, I can buy the supplies needed to repair the nav console. The nav console is a pretty decent ticket item. A nav console that is in good working order is worth a whole lot, so that's worth doing. If we take a look at my skills here, we are becoming better at robotics and electrical engineering as a result of doing all this restoration work. But boy, are we slow. I think what I'd like to do is salvage the parts in order to add an N2 can or N2 pumps to our ship rather than to buy them. Salvaging stuff is obviously like effectively free other than the fuel and electricity and oxygen gases needed to get there. So in almost every scenario, it is better to salvage the parts you need to improve your life than to buy them. You would only ever really consider buying them if they were too rare to ever salvage them, or you just can't find them at all. There we go, another 1,400 from the thruster assembly that we repaired up to like new condition. And then I think I am going to invest a little bit more in power tools to make the work easier. So there is some really amazing power tools that I won't be able to afford, like the laser torch, which is like a dream to eventually be able to get that. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is, so we have the friction welder. I'm going to get a soldering tool and a GOT power drill and a GOT battery charger. So now we have a welder, an iron, and a drill, which should help to Oh, right. I already had the soldering iron. My bad. Which should help to speed up the work. I'm going to sell the older soldering iron. I totally forgot that I had 2. So that's the new one. And that's the old one. I could have kept the battery, but not a big deal. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. A special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow space scrappers.